Welcome back, everybody, to the KC Sports Report. I'm your host, Michael Darcy, and today I have the pleasure to be joined by my friends Caden Spruill and Kyle Collier, both fellow producers at Sports Radio 810 WHB. And in this video, we're going to go over some of the positives and negatives from the Chiefs' collapse against the Jacksonville Jaguars on Monday Night Football. So, fellas, we watched the Chiefs give that game away to the Jags prime time on Monday Night Football. It was a frustrating game to watch, but I am coming out of this game with a more confident feeling than I've had all season coming after a loss. So I want to get your thoughts. What was your biggest positive coming from this loss? And we'll start with Caden.
Yeah, Michael, I think my biggest positive takeaway was that this offense still looked efficient, and they looked like the offense that we really, envisioned coming into the season and seasons before. I think specifically, though, I think they were a lot better on first and second down than they've been through the first, 4 weeks. I think we avoided getting in those 3rd-and-1 situations that seemed to haunt us more than any other team like I've ever seen. But we were very efficient on first and second down. A lot of that was due to Pat, making big time plays with his legs as well, kind of avoiding those 3rd down situations. But there was a key stat from our fellow 810 worker Curtis Seabolt. It was last night. He posted before last night, teams that averaged 7.5 yards per play and outgained their opponent by 150 yards have won 33 straight in 67 of 69 games, which is just outstanding. And I don't know if that's a bigger slight towards the Chiefs taking that loss last night, or a compliment to how efficient this offense was. But that's definitely my positive takeaway, that this offense is still moving along at the speed that we expected, and it's only going to get better when we get Ford back in a couple weeks. So I'm really excited about that for sure moving forward.
Yeah, Caden, I think you're 100% on that. The biggest question after the Baltimore Ravens win was this game more about the Chiefs offense or about the Ravens defense and them missing so many guys? I think with their performance against the Jaguars, I'd like to say it's more about the Chiefs offense being back. And you're 100% right about, when they get Rashee Rice back. It's going to be you're going to be locked and loaded, fully, all arms ready to go. My positive I'll remain on the offensive side. It's the running game and the O-line. Kareem Hunt, 7 carries. Isaiah Pacheco, also 7 carries. But they both averaged over 5 yards a carry. Kareem, 7 for 49. Pacheco, 7 for 36. The running game, all of a sudden, is not a problem anymore. And Jacksonville's defense coming in to Monday Night Football was the number 3 run defense. So it's just been odd. It's been impossible to predict. But, Caden, like you said, the offense is back, and they seem to be cooking a little bit. And the O-line, Josh Simmons, I think, only had 2 pressures allowed. Kingsley Suamataia only had 1 pressure allowed. You're going to take that all day. And real quick, I want to bring this stat up from Bryce Carter over at Arrowhead Addict. Patrick Mahomes is facing pressure on just 25.8% of his dropbacks this year, the 4th lowest rate in the NFL. The O-line is cooking. It's coming together, I think, better than any of us could have envisioned.
Well, no surprise, I'm going to piggyback off of both of your positives and stick with the offense. The Chiefs' offense was not the problem last night. They were very good, and they did enough to win. In fact, they outgained the Jags by 160 yards and averaged 7.6 yards per play. That's fantastic. We have been waiting for this offense for a year and a half. And finally, they've protected Patrick Mahomes up front. You've gotten great production from a hidden gem in Tyquan Thornton, who had 3 catches for 90 yards in this game, continues to be a steal for this offense. Hollywood Brown played maybe his best game as a Chief. You saw them run the ball effectively. Kareem Hunt broke off a giant run, and I will say he probably would have scored that 5 years ago, but it's still good to see the Chiefs' offense do what they're supposed to do and execute. Now, there was the pick 6 at the goal line, and that does suck, but I feel like we all come out of this game feeling like, okay, if you execute just a little bit better on special teams and you don't throw a pick 6, you probably win the game, because that pick 6 was a 14-point swing, and when the Chiefs lose by a field goal, those points seem pretty glaring.
Yeah, I saw an interesting stat today from ESPN Analytics that said after that interception, the Chiefs' win percentage chances went from 70% to 20%, which is, I mean, if you guys don't understand, that's a very, very dramatic change in win percentage chance. So, yeah, Kyle, I think you addressed a really good point. To my first point is, the run game looked very well. That was part of the reason why it made third down so easy or kept us from being in those third down in short situations. We were very efficient in the run game. Like you said, Michael Kareem broke off that long run. I think that might have been the longest rush he's had in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely as a Chief, and then in years for sure. So it was good to see that burst from Kareem as well. I'd like to see Brashard Smith. I'm gonna keep pounding that table, man. I'd like to see some more Brashard Smith. He's been very explosive every single time he's touched the ball. So I think we should continue to get him involved.
Yeah, Brashard Smith, I'm with you, Caden, because I think I brought this up on a video last week or maybe the night shift a couple weeks ago. You get Rashee Rice back. Just imagine that. You got Tyquan, Hollywood Brown, Xavier Worthy, and Trips. You got Rashee Rice on the other side, and then Brashard Smith coming out of the backfield on, let's say, a third down. That's a lot of speed. But my problem is, last night, Brashard Smith only had 6 snaps. I need more of him. I know he's got duties on special teams in the return game, but I would like to see more of him for sure.
When he was a monster in the return game, but a lot of it got, called back because Jack Cochran couldn't not hold guys. So I feel like Brashard Smith has genuinely gotten significantly better on a weekly basis, and that snap count and his role gets bigger every week. And so I do think that is a positive. And again, we have for the longest time been asking ourselves, does this Chiefs offense have the horses? Like, are they actually going to be good enough to put up enough points? They put up 28 points against a Jacksonville defense that coming into this game was one of the very best in the NFL, and you still felt like, okay, they could have probably put up more. And so I do think that offensively, they're starting to find their groove. And while the defense and the special teams did let this team down, I think that it's a safe bet to assume that it's not going to continue to be like that for the rest of the season. Like, hopefully the defense bounces back and the special teams unit kind of has to bounce back.
Yeah, I think it was so disappointing and such a shocking loss for the Chiefs community, just because I think over the past few weeks we've always said, 25 is the number. If you get to 25, that's going to be enough to win you the game. And that wasn't the case, which, I mean, if you take away the pick six, yeah, it is enough.
It was.
But yeah, obviously that wasn't how, you got to count the six in or pick six in as well. I'm sorry. But yeah, I mean, it was very disappointing to see that effort from the defensive side, but the offense, held up their part, and that's a positive to continue with for sure.
Yeah, and the pick six specifically, that's a mistake Patrick Mahomes rarely makes. I doubt you see him do something like that again this season. But that is part of the negative. But to make an overall point about the offense, Patrick Mahomes looks like the Patrick Mahomes of old, the MVP Pat. He looks comfortable. The offensive line is giving him time. And he looks like he trusts his receivers, especially Tyquan Thornton, a guy he's only played with. I know he was in the building last year, practice squad pickup, but he's only been throwing to this guy for 5 weeks now in the regular season. Looks like he's got a lot of trust in his receivers. So Pat Mahomes looks good. The offense looks good. I'm sure we'll get to our negatives now.
Yeah, I was going to say there are a lot of negatives after this loss because the Chiefs did give this one away, and we'll get to those right after this break. This video is sponsored by my friends over at DM Injury Law. Injured in an accident? You could be entitled to significant compensation, but time is critical. Rely on the experienced personal injury attorneys at DM Law, Kansas City and Missouri's top injury law firm. DM Law is a full-service personal injury practice supported by a large team of investigators, case managers, medical records specialists, and more. And best of all, you don't pay unless they win. DM Law operates on a contingency fee basis, meaning no fees unless they win your case. And they also provide free consultations. So if you've been injured, don't wait. You can contact DM Law today for a free consultation and learn how they can help you pursue the compensation you deserve. Let them handle the fight while you focus on healing. Hurt in a car wreck? Call Mike. Remember, Mike's got this. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisement. Thanks to DM Injury Law for sponsoring this video. The Hollywood Casino at Kansas Speedway is the place to be. With over 1,500 slot machines, 35 table games, 4 restaurants, and an ESPN Bet sportsbook, there are plenty of ways to find your fun. For more chances to win, follow their Facebook, Instagram, and X. Must be 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Huge thanks to the sponsors that have supported this channel all football season long. Now, we did get into the positives in that first segment, but when you lose, there are a lot of negatives. Guys, what was your biggest negative from this game? We'll start with Kyle.
Oh boy. Okay. I'm gonna go with the defensive line. The Chiefs' pass rush is mostly invisible, and I want to pull up some PFF grades here. George Karlaftis has been the best, 24th out of 109. Now I know PFF is not everything, but it feels like it's pretty damn accurate. Charles Omenihu, 99th out of 109. Ashton Gelati, 103rd out of 109. Going to the interior, Jerry Tillery, 110th out of 119. Chris Jones, 76th out of 119. And then Derek Nottie, the guy the Chiefs sent a draft pick over to just bring him back in the building, 119 out of 119. Listen, the Chiefs were wearing white on white last night, so it was easy to see how little push the Chiefs were getting last night. Trevor Lawrence had time, and I really wasn't scared of Trevor Lawrence beating you with his arm at all, but George Karlaftis is getting pressures, but he's not getting home. Nobody else is getting the pressures. I mean, I know Chris Jones deals with double teams and all, but it's clear Chris Jones doesn't have that gas or that juice that 28-year-old Chris Jones had. The defensive line it was very disappointing. They just looked like they were playing patty cake up there with the Jags O-line, and it starts in the trenches. The Chiefs' defense played well overall, but that defensive line is pretty invisible still.
Yeah, I think you make some really good points there, Kyle. I think my negative takeaway from this would be just the penalties, just so uncharacteristic of an Andy Reid led team. I talked about this at least earlier on, in I think one of our earlier episodes. But yeah, I think it might have been after week 1. But yeah, I think we had 13 penalties last night for 109 yards, which is just unbelievable. Like, I mean, I think the Jags only had 4. And we talked about it before the show, but the penalties get magnified a lot more in losses, but they've been a characteristic of this team all season long. Even in the winning games, we've struggled with penalties as well. And then last night it was all 3 phases. Mainly it's been the offensive side, but last night it was the defense, it was the special teams as well. Cochran had 2 holding penalties, which is unheard of, and then obviously we had the PI on Shamari Connors in the end zone, and I want to talk about him a little bit as well. I want to give you guys some of his coverage numbers from over the first 5 weeks.
Oh no! Oh no!
So week 1, 7 targets, 7 receptions, 100 yards. Week 2, 3 targets, 3 receptions. Week 3, 3 targets, 3 receptions. Week 4, he only had 1 target, 1 reception. Week 5, 3 targets, 3 receptions. So he is giving up a 100% reception rate when he is guarding in man coverage. So yeah, I mean, I talked about the penalties, but there's a lot of different areas that just completely impacted this game and made it hard for the Chiefs to overcome.
I think my biggest negative is that if you just look at the stats in this game, the box score, it is a miracle the Chiefs lost this game. You outgained the Jags by 160 yards. You averaged 7.6 yards per play on offense. You won the turnover battle 2-1, and you outgained them you ran more plays on offense. You won the time of possession, and you still lost. Like, that's the most insane thing to me, that if you just look at the numbers, the Chiefs should have won this game by 2 touchdowns. But you let them get back in this game because of the costly mistakes that both of you mentioned. The penalties killed this team. Like, genuinely, if you don't have that costly PI call in the end zone to put them at the 1, who knows what happens. But also, the 2 holding calls on Jack Cochran, Harrison Butker kicking the ball out of bounds. This is the kind of stuff that results in a losing team. Like, at a certain point, if it looks like a duck and if it quacks like a duck, it's probably a duck. Yeah, we're calling the Chiefs a good team that is getting kind of unlucky with some of these one-score games. At a certain point, if they continue to lose the way they are, they're not a good football team. They're a bad football team. But I will say this. Go ahead, sorry.
No, finish, Michael. Finish. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, I don't think they are a bad football team. I think the offense has gotten better since week 1. But I think that the special teams unit has been a glaring issue all year long, whether it's Butker missing kicks or the holding calls. I mean, even kickoffs have been a disaster. This is the kind of stuff that leads to losses.
Yeah, and to your point, last year in games decided by 7 or less points, the Chiefs were 10-0. This year they're 0-3. And last night it just kept snowballing. As soon as the second half started, they go 3 and out on their first drive, and from there you bring up the Cochran holding penalties, and then the Butker he screwed up the kickoff, and then Shamari Connor with a DPI. You know, it's just the mistakes kept snowballing, and it's just like they were sleepwalking when they came out of the tunnel for the second half. I don't get it, but yeah, you're 100% right. If this continues, then they're not a good football team. But I think if those two teams play 10 more games, I think the Chiefs win 8 of them, probably. Mm-hmm. So in the long run, the Chiefs are the better team. And like you said, Darcy, looking at the box score, it's a miracle that the Chiefs lost this game. It's just the undisciplined nature of the squad last night. What did Breece Hall say last week? Some teams shoot themselves in the foot and we go and shoot ourselves in the face or something like that. It's exactly what the Chiefs did last night.
Yeah, and one of the penalties I forgot to bring up as well was like the Hollywood Brown, after the play, he almost like punched the guy, which is another thing that's so uncharacteristic of the Chiefs. Like we don't commit those type of penalties. We get the teams that are frustrated from us kicking their ass, they commit those type of penalties against us. We don't really, cause those. But I do think the Chiefs are still a very good football team. I saw an interesting stat today of the best teams at 2-3 through 5 weeks, and if they had the best. I'm sorry, let me repeat that. Best DVOA at 2-3 since 1978. So right now the Chiefs are at 5th. They have a 21% DVOA. And that tells you of teams that are 2-3, they're one of the best 5 teams since 1978. Mm-hmm. So whether that's penalties, whether that's just being unlucky, I do think that there is some positive regression that is due, and things will turn around coming up. But obviously we know that we're missing Rashee Rice. There's been some key injuries over in suspensions obviously over the first few weeks of the season. So I think that they are a good football team, and I do think things will turn around, and that stat just kind of speaks to that. And I think things will be better.
When to both of your points, to Kyle's point, yeah, the one-score wins, that's going to kind of come back to the mean. Like the pendulum is always going to swing, back towards the middle. And the Chiefs being 0-3 in one-score games, it kind of fits considering they went 15-2 last year, and they won a lot of games where you're like, oh wow, they probably shouldn't have won that one. But also, to Caden's point, the penalties, the uncharacteristicness, of this Chiefs team, that is something that I think Andy Reid can coach out of them. They have had, years in the past where they're pretty sloppy with the penalties early on in the season, and as they get closer to December and January, they tighten up on that. So I do think that, to Kyle's point, I think the Chiefs were the better team last night against the Jags. I think if they played this game again, they would definitely win it. but they didn't. And so, going forward, they're going to have to continue to shore up on, a lot of the special teams issues, the defense as of late, and, Mahomes can't throw costly interceptions at the goal line. But I think that we are all in agreement that the Chiefs are not a bad football team. They've just run into some unfortunate breaks. But I do think that is all the time we have in this video. My final question for both of you is, where can the people find your content? And we'll start with Kyle.
You listen to me on Sports Radio 810, weekdays 2 to 6. I produce the program with Seren Petro and Curtis Seabolt. And then find me on here on Darcy's channel. And then whenever the MLB playoffs are over, find us all on the night shift.
Yes, sir. Yeah, you can find me on Sports Radio 810 WHB as well, on the night shift with Michael, and then right here on the KC Sports Report as well.
And guys, all their stuff, including their Twitter, will be linked in the description of this video. Hit that like button, subscribe for more Daily Chiefs content. Until next time, guys, thank you for watching this video. And as always, go Chiefs.